Welcome back everyone. In this video we are going to go over our install guide for the unbranded V5 IPS mod for DMG. This guide is similar to the RetroPixel Q5 mod, which we will have linked in the description if you want to check that out. And before you proceed, you may want to check out our other guides such as our DMG Disassembly guide and our soldering guide. In addition, this kit will be linked below as well as all of the required tools needed. And with that being said, let's begin. Before we start, we want to go ahead and run a dry test to ensure everything is working properly. You can refer to our dry test guide if needed. To start, we're going to solder our speaker to the new IPS control board as shown. The polarity of these wires does not matter in this case. Next is setting up the IPS panel assembly by connecting the IPS panel to the IPS control board. The V5 LCD comes pre-connected to the IPS control PCB. If yours is not already connected, then just carefully connect the ribbon tab to the IPS control board as shown. Then apply a small strip of double-sided tape to the rear of the IPS control PCB and stick the control board to the rear of the IPS panel as shown. Next, connect the IPS assembly to the IPS control board. Ensure the cable is fully inserted and close the latch to secure it in place. Then apply a small strip of double-sided tape to the larger portion of the IPS alignment bracket. Peel the protective film off of the IPS display and insert the IPS panel into the bracket. This next step is for shell modification only, which is optional. If you are not using a pre-cut shell, see the cutting images on screen for instructions. Next, we're going to be installing our IPS board, so make sure to add all buttons and membranes to the front shell. Again, we recommend against using the included screen adhesive for this particular mod, as the bracket does a wonderful job of holding the screen in position. Line up the holes on the alignment bracket with the screw posts on the front shell. This should be a near perfect fit. Take your time to ensure everything sits flush against the front of the shell. Then fold the IPS board into place and ensure the speaker is fitted properly to its cutout in the shell. Be sure to check the adjustment wheel to ensure it sits properly in the shell. Trim any plastic that may be touching the wheel and then install the 6 PH1 screws to hold the IPS control board in place. Next, install the larger ribbon cable on the IPS board. This is a pressure fit connector, so some gentle force may be required to properly seat the cable. Lastly, we're going to move on to our final assembly, which is connecting the IPS control board assembly to the main board via the larger end of the ribbon cable. Then finally, replace the 6 Y1 screws on the rear housing. Let's look at a couple features of this kit. Why are we playing baseball?
Key to being a big league pitcher is the 3 R's. Readiness, recuperation, and conditioning.
Alright, well, by rotating the control wheel, we can adjust the brightness. Pressing the control wheel in once, switch the color palette. If we long press, about 5 seconds, we can enter the on-screen display mode. And from here, you can control various settings relating to color and battery level display. Well, we hope you enjoyed this video, and shoot us a like and hit that subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.